Right, let's now turn our attention not to what came before, but to what happens now and where United go from here, with Ruben Amorim confirmed as Manchester United's first ever head coach yesterday, and he will join in 9 days' time once the international break arrives. And his team were rather impressive against Estrella last night, winning by 5-1. Gyökeres with just the 4 goals last night. We'll talk about him. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But before we do, Dawes, let's just have a touch on Ruud van Nistelrooy and what happens to him, because he was in charge. He'll be in charge again tomorrow against Chelsea for that midweek League Cup tie against Leicester. 5-goal thriller at Old Trafford. And before we talk about his future, I know we often talk about a little bit of a bounce when a manager goes and someone steps in, whether interim or full-time. But it just seemed to be a joy in United's play on Wednesday that we haven't seen for some time.
Well, the shackles were off, and I expected them to beat Leicester, a poor Leicester team, but they got off to a great start. I mean, the goal from Casemiro was incredible, but the players just looked like, look, we're going to play in behind, we're going to play with energy, and that comes from the manager. And you see his emotion. He knows what it's about to play for Manchester United, and then proud moment for him being interim manager. It'll be no different tomorrow. What happens with him when Ruben Amorim comes in, I'm not too sure, because it seemed like a club appointment in the summer. He's come in, he knows a football club.
Well, I think he mentioned at least twice in his post-match press conference that it was an 18-month contract.
Yes.
Just putting that out there, Ruud.
Yeah, and he's making it clear to everyone that he wants to be part of that coaching staff. And it comes down to Ruben to then make the decision. He's got a lot of experience. He knows what it's about playing for the football club. I'm sure he can help him, but he's also bringing his own staff in. So It's going to be an interesting one. I mean, he did sign, like you said, he's kept talking about it, how proud he is. He spoke to Alex Ferguson, he made phone calls.
I think Fergie was pretty keen on him.
Sorry?
Sir Alex was pretty keen on him.
Yeah, certainly when he came in the summer, it wouldn't have surprised me if he had a slight look and thinking, if it doesn't quite go well for Erik ten Hag, could I be the next in the hot seat? He's there. Obviously not for the long term. So I'm not too sure what's going to happen with Ruud van Nistelrooy, because he's obviously a coach, he's got a big input, but with Amorim, is he going to want that? Because managers come in, Tim and Merce have done that. You can have a little bit of guidance, but how much responsibility you give Ruud van Nistelrooy might determine how long he's there for.
Would you, Merce, based on what you saw Wednesday night? And listen, I guess for Amorim coming in, it's just a little indication of what's possible from these players. Yes, it's against a Leicester side who was struggling. We saw them beaten easily by Nottingham Forest the Friday before last. But when he's looked at that, and he will have been watching on, seeing what United are doing against Leicester Wednesday night, will he have seen some reasons for optimism in terms of the players United have about what's possible when he gets the right team at the right personnel in the right positions?
How long is that going to take? That's the problem. I mean, you could look at it one way and go, wow, what are these players like? They can't win a football match, and then the manager goes and then they start scoring 5. Or he thinks, you know, they're lucky, they've had a little bit of turn of luck. I mean, and this is when Casemiro's putting that in from 35 yards. They play completely different. Man United are one of the worst teams in the Premier League without the ball. They don't close down. They never know when to go. 1 goes, 2 don't go, 3 go, and then 2 don't go. They're wide open. They're all over the place. They look like they're playing on a polo pitch half the time at Old Trafford, you know, and that needs to stop. And this is what this manager does. He plays free at the back. The wing-backs, you know, I look at them and I'm like, have they got wing-backs to play that way? You know, you hear that might be Rashford having to do that job. It's one of the hardest jobs in football, playing as a wing-back. It is up and down. It is up, down. You've got to cross the ball, then you've got to defend. You know, it's not one of them positions you just put someone in. There's a lot of work to be done in. You know, a lot of managers come into clubs and you go, ticks the box. He's got everything there already. Do you know what I mean? He hasn't. He's got nothing. They play a high line. They've got no pace, really, at Man United. You know, the pitch is big. He wants so much different to what Man United are now. It's like chalk and cheese. It will take time. I think he'll get it right. You know, he hasn't got lucky doing what he's done to break up the Porto-Benfica situation. You know, he's gone and he destroyed them 2 teams with the way he's played. So, for me, he will get it right, but it will take time. It will take time.
Yeah, and Paul's right to point out his record in Portugal this season. It is impressive. They were in action against Estrella last night, still in charge. 2 more games to go for him. Man City next to come for him in the Champions League. It was a 5-1 win. It's 10 wins out of 10 in the league. They've scored 35 goals. They've conceded 3. In terms of boxes being ticked, in terms of impressiveness, Tim, he's ticking all of them at the moment. But with the greatest threat, that's the Portuguese league. He's now coming to the Premier League. Why are you so convinced, like the United board are, that he is the right fit for United?
I'm convinced on the playing style. When Ten Hag was coming into Man United, I didn't know how he played. He played at Ajax. You can play how you want. You can win the league at Ajax with respect. You've got the best players in the best academy. You can just keep dipping into the academy, pulling another one out and winning trophies. I said, this, like Mercer said, this boy's won it with an unfashionable side over there. Sporting ain't won it for 19 years. He goes and win it twice on the spin, but with the same identity and the same 3-4-3 formation. That's what he sticks to. Whether he's got the personnel to do it or not, like we said, he can't change all the squad. Some of them will be unrecognisable when this man gets hold of them. He really try and improve them individually and collectively. That will help the side. I really believe in him. I think he's got a personality. I mean, he looks like a manager of Man United. He just looks, he oozes confidence. He's a young man, you know. I think if I'm a Man United fan, it's not one of, I'm not saying old managers no good. I'm not saying that at all. But he's fresh, he's new, he's in demand. I mean, West Ham wanted him. They wouldn't pay the compensation if you believe what you read. Chelsea wanted him. You know, he was speaking to him. Liverpool were courting him. He's decided to go to the biggest club in the world, in Man United. I think it's a great time to go to Man United, not for the personnel or the players, staff, what he's got there at the moment, but they can't be any worse. And you've got a new regime in there who want to do well.
Would you think you'd go for Gyökeres?
100%.
Because they can't score a goal, Man United.
100%. They've got no centre forwards, Merce.
But do you think that he'll know? Will he know straight away, or will he wait 2 or 3 months to see if he can do it in the Premier League?
Well, I think he needs him as well as Højlund. I think he'll develop Højlund. Højlund might be the answer, but I think he needs him as well. I mean, how many times do we play there where you got Yorkie, you got Cole, you got Solskjaer, you got Teddy Sheringham, you got Ruud van Nistelrooy. You know, they're all just coming off the bench. Robin van Persie. At the moment, they've got Højlund. And then they got Xerxes, who's not even a 9. So I think he's nailed on to come in there, surely. I mean, they're spending 70 million on Casemiro at 34 years of age. You know what I mean? If they go to Sporting Lisbon with respect to the finances of that club, they will say, there's 100 million, give us your man. And he will come. He's a great age. Marcus Edwards is another one.
Give him a man, he'll drop him off. 100 million.
No, I'm talking about Gyökeres.
Yeah, 100 mil.
Yeah, I think he'd be that money. He's 26 years of age. He's a young man. He's ripping it up. He's one of the most.
He went from Coventry for 20.5 minutes and he scored 4 last night. Hey, let's go back to Dawes. I was talking about the style we can expect under Amorim and saying that really his first job, picking up what Merce said, is to make them more difficult to play against because they've been too easy to play against. Old Trafford has not had that intimidatory factor that we saw in years gone by, has it?
And he's finding players that fit the bill. We've seen what he's done in at Sporting. We're playing a back 3, so you're going to need wing backs. Probably got it with Dalot. Shaw on the other side, but in the middle of the park, you're going to have 2 that can run. That is one thing when you play with wing backs.
Well, Agate's going to be fascinating, isn't he? Because he played for him at Sporting.
Yeah, and do you know what, Simon? I criticised Erik ten Hag because he never plays. If you sign a player of his ability, and we've all sat on here last year talking about having energy in the middle of the park, he comes in for a game, misses 2, comes in. He needs a run of games. One thing he will get with the new manager, he'll get that because he knows him, he knows what he's all about, he's got energy, he needs to get up to match fitness, but you need to play games, and he's never been given that opportunity. So I think with the new manager coming in, it is going to take time. I echo what Merce said, and I said exactly the same when Erik ten Hag came in. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a different style of playing, different manager, different voice, but he will improve them because the job he's done at Sporting, he's gone there and done a great job, and he's got this opportunity, and ultimately, the Premier League is the best job in the world, and anybody who's managed, anybody who's played, the ultimate is to get to the Premier League, get your rewards, get your big contract, and then try and go and be successful. And he's a hard-working young manager, and he's worked hard to get this opportunity to arguably the best job in the world, the best football club in the world, and good luck to him. When any manager goes in, I've never been in that hot seat, and I wouldn't like them pressures. He's going to be under a different kind of scrutiny. But everyone you listen to who's followed Sporting Lisbon for a long time, the fans, they love and appreciate what he's done. And these Manchester United fans now are going to have to back him, get behind him, be patient in moments in this season, and probably for the next season as well, because it's not going to be easy for him to implement his style of play. But good luck to him. What an opportunity, and he deserves it.
Final question on this, Merce, before we move on to take a break. Are United fans justified in being exciting about this appointment? Are you excited for what this might mean for the Premier League and for Manchester United?
I'm excited to see how good he is, because what he's done at Sporting Lisbon is phenomenal. But
Remarkable.
Sporting Lisbon to here, to Manchester United, with an at a massive football club like Dahl says, one of the biggest clubs in the world, but they're not one of the biggest teams in the world.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. It's going to be interesting how it works because he's had success. He's gone in and broke up that Porto, Benfica. He's got to come in and it's all start all over again. He's going to start losing football matches. Hasn't lost a lot of football matches in the last 2-3 years. That takes, when you're not used to losing football matches, then you start losing games. How's he going to react? How's it going? The pressure's going to get. This is a huge, huge job. I'm interested to see how he gets on because he ticks all the boxes. But this league is it's like scoring 60 goals, 50 goals in the Championship, and then you go and sign for Man United and you've got to get 60 goals in the Premier League. It's hard, but I wish him all the best.